There are powerful secrets within this book that many would never dare to share. Yet here they are, placed before you at great risk. This is knowledge that can bend circumstances and shift outcomes, but it comes with a warning: do not use it for evil. For what you send out through these teachings will always return to you. Book of Powerful Secrets. Introduction. Within the hidden chambers of existence, where the seen dissolves into the unseen, there hums a quiet truth, ancient, eternal, and alive. It is the truth of vibration, the silent music from which all creation arises. You are not a wanderer lost within a story already written. You are the scribe of the cosmos, etching reality into form with every thought you dare to hold. Long before words were spoken and stars took shape, this sacred law whispered through the fabric of the universe. What is now called the law of attraction is not a discovery but a remembrance, a forgotten rhythm that beats within all things. The universe does not respond to idle wishes. It answers the deeper call, the frequency of your being. Each thought you nurture is not idle. It is a spark, a seed, a force seeking to become. As awareness awakens within you, a doorway opens. You begin to see yourself not as a fragment, but as a creator woven into the divine design. Your emotions become currents, your thoughts become blueprints, and your presence becomes the alchemy through which the invisible takes shape. This is no illusion, no fleeting magic. It is law, as ancient and unyielding as time itself. Yet such knowledge is not given lightly. It carries with it a sacred weight. For the universe is a mirror that does not judge. It only reflects and amplifies. What you send forth returns, magnified. To create in harmony is to walk in grace. To create in discord is to weave your own entanglement. Thus, intention must be tempered with wisdom, and power softened by compassion. This path calls not for control, but for awakening. To master creation is not to command it, but to resonate with its highest song, love that expands, joy that uplifts, peace that steadies, and abundance that flows without fear. Without awareness, even the greatest truths lie dormant, waiting to be remembered. And so you stand at the threshold, between sleep and awakening, between drifting and becoming. The pen has always been in your hand. Only now are you invited to see it, to claim it, and to write with intention upon the vast canvas of existence. Before we get into the book, comment "I am ready" to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Awakening of Thought. Chapter 1. The Invisible Magnet. In a small coastal village, a young woman named Lulu spent her evenings gazing at couples walking along the shore, her heart heavy with longing. Each day she would count the hours spent alone, filling journals with her yearnings for companionship. "Why am I always alone?" became the mantra that echoed through her thoughts, unknowingly strengthening the very solitude she wished to escape. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, responds with unwavering precision to the energy we emit. Your attention acts as a beacon, drawing more of whatever occupies your thoughts. When Lulu focused on her loneliness, she unknowingly constructed walls of isolation around herself, each worried thought adding another brick to her fortress of solitude. This principle, that energy follows attention, stands as one of the most powerful laws governing your existence. What you resist persists, not because the universe is cruel, but because resistance itself is a form of focused attention. In fighting against what you don't want, you inadvertently strengthen its presence in your life. This truth revealed itself beautifully in the story of Benny, a struggling artist in the same village. For years his paintings remained unsold, gathering dust in his tiny studio. Like Lulu, he initially focused on what was missing: recognition, sales, appreciation. But one autumn morning, something shifted within him. Instead of lamenting his situation, Benny began each day expressing gratitude for his paints, his brushes, the morning light that streamed through his window. He thanked the universe for his ability to create, for the colors that danced on his palette. As his heart filled with appreciation, his art transformed. The very energy he poured into gratitude began reflecting in his work, and collectors started noticing. Within months, his paintings found homes in galleries across the region. The ancient practice of redirected attention. Find a quiet moment as the sun rises or sets. Sit in stillness and bring to mind one simple blessing in your life, perhaps the warmth of sunlight on your skin or the rhythm of your breath. Let your awareness rest there, feeling the fullness of appreciation for this single gift. Move to another blessing, then another, like a bee gathering nectar from flowers. Continue until you feel a warm glow of contentment in your heart. This vibration of gratitude becomes your offering to the universe, signaling your readiness to receive more of life's abundance. Chapter 2. The Mirror of Emotion. In the depths of a bustling city, a young dancer named Teddy practiced his routines with relentless dedication. Yet with each passing day, his movements grew more rigid, constrained by the iron grip of fear. Every mirror reflection sparked waves of doubt, and each stumble confirmed his deepest worries. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, merely echoed back what he projected, creating a cycle of anxiety that manifested in his performance. The law of attraction operates through the language of emotion. Your feelings are not merely responses to life. They are the very commands that shape your reality. When you steep yourself in worry, the universe responds with experiences that justify that emotional state. This is why Teddy found himself trapped in an expanding spiral of missteps and tension. But this same law works with equal power in the direction of grace. In a neighboring music hall, Marjorie discovered this truth through her relationship with her cello. Where once she approached each performance with trembling hands and racing thoughts, she learned to cultivate an inner sanctuary of peace before touching her bow to the strings. The transformation in her music was remarkable. Notes that once emerged tentative and strained now flowed with natural brilliance. Her audiences felt themselves transported, moved by something beyond mere technical skill. By choosing to anchor herself in tranquility before each performance, Marjorie had unknowingly issued a new command to the universal forces. Her emotional stability became a magnetic force, drawing toward her all the elements needed for success: focused attention, fluid movements, and receptive audiences. This law knows no favorites. It simply reflects with perfect accuracy the emotional vibration you maintain. Like a mirror that shows exactly what stands before it, the circumstances of your life will align themselves with your sustained emotional state. When you understand this principle, you realize the profound responsibility and power you hold in each moment's feeling. The ancient practice of emotional mastery. As the sun rises each morning, Find a quiet space where you can sit undisturbed. Close your eyes and allow your awareness to rest in the neutral space between thoughts. Notice any emotional currents moving through you without attempting to change them. Simply observe. As your mind naturally settles, you'll begin to experience a state of genuine calm. This is your true creative foundation. From this space, consciously choose the emotional tone you wish to carry into your day. Let this become your morning ritual, understanding that the emotional seeds you plant will grow into the circumstances you meet. Chapter 3. The Frequency Choice. In ancient times, within a bustling marketplace, Clara wandered among the stalls, her shoulders heavy with disappointment. Each day she watched others discover precious gems, secure advantageous trades, or stumble upon rare artifacts. "Fortune favors everyone but me," she would whisper, unknowingly crafting her reality with each defeated breath. Yet within her lay dormant wisdom, waiting to surface. Just as water takes the shape of its vessel, life takes the form of your innermost vibration. Your emotional frequency acts as an invisible magnet, drawing experiences that match its resonance. Clara's transformation began when she encountered an old sage who shared a truth that had echoed through centuries. The universe mirrors what you are, not what you want. This eternal principle governs all creation. Every circumstance in your life reflects your dominant emotional state with unwavering precision. Those who appear lucky have unknowingly mastered the art of favorable vibration. They walk in certainty, and the universe responds with corresponding events. Take George, a merchant who once struggled at the edges of success. His days were filled with anxiety about future trades until he uncovered this timeless secret. Instead of forcing outcomes through sheer will, he began cultivating an inner state of abundance. Each morning, before opening his shop, he would sit in quiet confidence, feeling the certainty of prosperity as if it already existed. Gradually his circumstances transformed. Valuable opportunities arose naturally, as if orchestrated by invisible hands. Beneficial partnerships formed effortlessly. His success appeared miraculous to others, but George understood. He had simply aligned his internal frequency with the prosperity he sought. The law of resonance operates with mathematical precision. Just as a tuning fork vibrating at a specific frequency causes another fork of the same frequency to vibrate in harmony, your emotional state sends out waves that return experiences of matching quality. The ancient practice of vibrational alignment. Choose one empowering emotion: joy, calm, or confidence. As the sun rises, sit in stillness and fully embody this feeling. Let it permeate every cell of your being. Carry this emotional tone through your day like an invisible melody. Notice how circumstances begin to shift, aligning themselves with your chosen frequency. This is not mere coincidence, but the law of resonance at work, bringing your outer world into harmony with your inner state. This practice, passed down through generations of wisdom keepers, holds the power to transform your relationship with fortune itself. For what appears as luck is simply the universe's perfect reflection of your dominant vibration. Chapter 4. Words that Create. In a secluded valley there lived a weaver named Adira who spoke harshly to herself with each imperfect thread. "Clumsy hands," she would mutter, "never good enough." As days passed, her tapestries grew more tangled, her fingers more uncertain, until her work became what her words had decreed. Through the cycles of creation, a fundamental truth emerges. Your spoken words are seeds planted in the fertile soil of universal consciousness. Each syllable carries a vibration that ripples through the fabric of existence, calling forth matching circumstances with unwavering precision. The language you use shapes the very architecture of your experience. When you declare, "I can't," the universe aligns to support that proclamation. When you affirm, "I am," those words become building blocks of your reality. This is not mere motivation. It is the operation of an immutable cosmic law. Consider how the ancients understood that utterances held power. They whispered blessings and chanted prayers, knowing that sound waves carried creative force. In your own life, each word you speak sends forth an energetic signal that the universe must answer, for it is bound by its own laws to match your frequency. A merchant named Khalil discovered this truth when his business faltered. Each morning, he had greeted his reflection with, "Another day of struggle." Yet when wisdom led him to transform his morning ritual to "I welcome abundance," his fortunes shifted as though orchestrated by an invisible hand. The power lies not in empty affirmations, but in the energetic signature of your words. Each statement you make is a declaration to the universe, a mold into which reality will pour itself. The law responds not to what you wish for, but to what you proclaim as truth. Watch your words as you would tend a garden. Your speech creates the climate in which your desires either flourish or wither. The universe knows no sarcasm. It receives every word as a serious command, every complaint as a request for more of the same. Let each word that passes your lips carry the frequency of what you wish to manifest. Speak as though your desires already exist, for in the higher realms of creation, they do. The distance between thought and manifestation is bridged by the power of conscious speech. Practice. Sit in stillness each morning for 7 breaths. Listen to the words you habitually speak to yourself. Replace any harsh or limiting phrases with words that honor your divine nature. Speak these new declarations aloud, feeling their vibration in your body. Know that each word is a seed, and the universe is the faithful gardener that will tend what you plant. Continue this practice until your new language becomes as natural as breathing, and watch as your reality transforms to match your elevated speech. Chapter 5. The River of Allowing. In the quiet hills beyond the city walls, there lived a woman named Evelyn who spent her days weaving tapestries. Each thread had to be perfectly placed, each color precisely chosen. If even one strand fell out of her intended pattern, she would unravel hours of work to begin anew. While her dedication to perfection made her tapestries admired throughout the land, it also kept her imprisoned in a cage of her own making. The universe speaks through patterns, and in Evelyn's life, a profound truth awaited discovery. The more tightly she gripped control, the more life seemed to slip through her fingers like water. Her gardens withered despite careful tending, her relationships grew distant despite meticulous planning, and her joy diminished despite her relentless pursuit of perfection. You see, the flow of creation follows a paradoxical law. That which you desperately try to control begins to control you. When you clutch too tightly to your desires, you unknowingly strangle their natural unfolding. This principle echoes through the ages. The harder you push against the current of life, the more resistance you create. Consider Harold, a merchant who dreamed of advancement in the great trading house where he worked. For years, he orchestrated elaborate schemes to prove his worth, carefully plotting each interaction with his superiors. Yet, promotion eluded him. It wasn't until tragedy struck, his mother's illness forcing him to release his ambitious grip, that everything changed. In caring for her, he surrendered his timeline for success. He learned to flow with life rather than fight it. And in that space of acceptance, the very position he had long sought was offered freely. The wisdom reveals itself. True power lies not in forcing life to bend to your will, but in aligning with its natural rhythm. When you release the need to orchestrate every detail, you open yourself to possibilities beyond your limited imagination. This is not passive resignation, but active trust in the infinite intelligence that orchestrates galaxies. You are not meant to be the architect of every moment, but rather the conscious participant in life's grand unfolding. Just as a river finds its path to the ocean without consulting a map, your deepest desires know their way to manifestation, if only you will allow them. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment as the sun rises. Sit in stillness and identify one area of life where you feel tension from over-control. Take 3 deep breaths, and with each exhale, mentally release your grip on the outcome. Then speak these words with quiet conviction. I allow perfect unfolding. Watch how life begins to move more freely around you, bringing solutions you could never have planned. The universe honors this surrender not with chaos, but with order beyond your imagining. In releasing control, you gain mastery of a higher kind, the mastery of trust in divine timing. Chapter 6. The Seeds of Belief. In a small coastal village, Millie poured her heart into crafting exquisite jewelry, each piece infused with her dreams of success. Yet time after time, her ventures crumbled like sand castles against the tide. She studied business strategies, refined her craft, and worked tirelessly. But an invisible force seemed to pull her backward with each step forward. Within every heart lies a hidden garden where beliefs take root and grow, shaping the fruits that manifest in your outer world. These beliefs whisper beneath your conscious thoughts, coloring every choice, every action, and every outcome. Just as a tree cannot bear fruit different from its nature, your results cannot deviate from your deepest convictions about what you deserve. Millie's revelation came during a moment of quiet reflection. Beneath her determined actions lay a persistent shadow, an unwavering belief that she was unworthy of prosperity. This single root fed all her struggles, poisoning even her most brilliant efforts with doubt. The universe, in its perfect reflection, could only mirror back this inner conviction. The law of attraction responds not to your wishes or actions alone, but to the vibration of your deepest beliefs. These subtle energies shape your reality with unwavering precision. When your conscious desires clash with unconscious beliefs, the deeper current always prevails. Consider the tale of Lester, a humble carpenter who discovered this truth. While others saw him as ordinary, he cultivated an unwavering inner knowing of his value. He didn't fight for success. He simply allowed it, knowing in his bones that prosperity was his natural state. His workshops flourished, not through forceful action, but through the quiet power of aligned belief. Clients were drawn to him like moths to flame, sensing the authentic confidence that radiated from his being. Your beliefs are not fixed stars, but seeds that can be replanted. Each time you recognize a limiting belief, you stand at the threshold of transformation. The key lies not in battling old thoughts, but in gently nurturing new ones until they take root in the fertile soil of your consciousness. Ancient practice of belief transformation. Find a quiet moment as the sun rises. Close your eyes and ask yourself, what hidden belief holds me back? Let the answer surface naturally. Write this belief on a leaf and release it into flowing water. Now speak its positive opposite as your new truth. For example, if you discovered, I am not enough, your new declaration becomes, I am naturally worthy of abundance. Repeat this practice for 7 days, allowing each repetition to sink deeper into your being. Watch as your outer world begins to shift in harmony with your transformed inner garden. Remember, the universe cannot help but reflect your deepest beliefs. Choose them wisely, for they are the seeds of your destiny. Chapter 7. The Power of Inner Vision. In a small village among rolling hills, there lived a weaver named Fanny, who blamed her meager existence on misfortune. Each morning she would gaze at her empty market stall, convinced that fate had dealt her an unchangeable hand. "Who would want my simple cloths?" she would whisper, her words echoing the barrenness before her. Yet within the tapestry of universal law lies a truth as old as thought itself. What you envision with emotional clarity becomes the blueprint for tomorrow's reality. Your mind is not merely a witness to life, it is life's preview, a sacred theater where coming attractions play in the eternal now. The power of visualization transcends mere daydreaming or wishful thinking. When you create a scene in your mind with the full force of your emotional being, you transmit a specific frequency into the universal field. This frequency acts as a magnet, drawing to you the very experiences that match its pattern. The universe responds not to what you see with your physical eyes, but to what you behold with your inner vision. Consider Albert, a farmer whose lands lay barren during a devastating drought. While others saw only dust and despair, Albert would walk his fields each dawn, seeing in his mind's eye the swaying wheat that would soon emerge. In his inner theater, he felt the heavy grain against his palms, heard the whisper of golden stalks in the breeze, and experienced the joy of abundance. He maintained this vision with unwavering faith, even as others questioned his sanity. Day after day, Albert lived in his imagination's creation, feeling the gratitude for a harvest that existed only in his mind. And then, as if by magic, though it was pure law, rain began to fall. His crops flourished beyond explanation, while neighboring fields remained sparse. Albert had discovered what the ancient ones knew. Imagination infused with feeling becomes the mold into which physical reality must flow. The key lies not in occasional wishful pictures, but in sustained emotional rehearsal. When you enter your mind's theater, you must become both the playwright and the actor, feeling every scene as if it were already manifest. This is not pretense. It is the very mechanism of creation itself. The universe does not distinguish between what you imagine with feeling and what you experience in the physical world. To it, all vibration is real. Therefore, your nightly visualization becomes a powerful act of creation, sending ripples through the fabric of existence itself. Ancient practice. As the sun sets each day, find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and allow your chosen reality to unfold in your mind's theater. See your desires not as distant possibilities but as present facts. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the absolute knowing that accompanies their fulfillment. Engage all your senses. See the colors, hear the sounds, feel the textures of your vision. Let your body respond as if your dreams were physically before you. Maintain this sacred practice until the feeling becomes more real than any doubt that crosses your path. This is not mere imagination. It is the ancient art of reality creation, passed down through generations of those who understood the true power of directed thought. Chapter 8. The Energy of Gratitude. In a small village by the sea, there lived a woman named Sadie, who saw only storm clouds where others glimpsed rainbows. Each morning began with a litany of grievances. Her cottage was too small, her garden yielded too little, her neighbors were too distant. Like a persistent rain, her complaints eroded the soil of possibility around her, until even the simplest joys withered before they could bloom. One autumn evening, as Sadie recited her familiar list of disappointments to her friend, the wise woman simply smiled and shared an ancient secret. The universe mirrors what we speak into it. Your words are seeds that grow into the garden of your life. At first, Sadie dismissed this wisdom as mere fantasy. Yet something in her heart stirred, recognizing a truth her mind resisted. Following her friend's guidance, she began a remarkable experiment. Each morning, instead of cataloging her woes, she would speak one genuine word of thanks into the dawn light. "Thank you for the warmth of my bed," she whispered on the first day, surprised to feel a tiny spark of lightness in her chest. The next morning, "Thank you for the birdsong outside my window." Day by day, her gratitude expanded like ripples on still water. In the village lived another soul who had discovered this secret years before. Wallace, a humble fisherman, had transformed his life through the simple practice of appreciation. Where others saw empty nets, he thanked the sea for its abundance. When storms prevented sailing, he expressed gratitude for the rest. Soon his boat began returning with catches so bountiful that other fishermen sought his counsel. "I speak to the universe as one would speak to a generous friend," Wallace would say, "and it responds in kind." As Sadie continued her practice, subtle shifts began occurring in her life. Her garden, once sparse, seemed to flourish under her grateful gaze. Neighbors, drawn by her warmer presence, started leaving small gifts at her door. Even the cottage she had once criticized began to feel like a sanctuary of peace. The most profound change, however, occurred within. Each expression of gratitude acted as a key, unlocking chambers of joy she hadn't known existed. The more she thanked, the more she found to be thankful for, creating a spiral of abundance that transformed her reality. Ancient practice of gratitude alchemy. Find a quiet moment at day's beginning. Take parchment and pen, or if you prefer, open your heart like a blank page. Write a letter of thanks to existence itself. Begin with the simplest gifts: breath, heartbeat, consciousness. Let your gratitude flow to all that surrounds you, speaking to each blessing as though it were a dear friend. Continue until you feel the shift, that moment when appreciation becomes pure joy. Seal your letter with the knowledge that every word of thanks plants a seed of abundance in the fertile soil of tomorrow. Chapter 9. Trusting the Invisible Stage. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, Opal stood before her empty shop each morning, questioning why customers passed by without entering. Her mind buzzed with doubt, demanding to understand the mechanics of success before allowing herself to trust in its arrival. "Show me first," she whispered to the universe, "and then I shall believe." Yet the ancient wisdom speaks of a different order, one where faith precedes manifestation, where trust comes before evidence. Like a farmer who plants seeds without seeing the harvest, true mastery of universal law requires believing in what has not yet taken physical form. Raymond, a humble potter in the same marketplace, embodied this truth. Each morning, he sat at his wheel with unwavering certainty that his creations would find their perfect homes. He did not count his customers or fret over competition. Instead, he worked with quiet joy, knowing that his faith was itself the magnetic force drawing abundance toward him. While others demanded proof before belief, Raymond understood that such demands created resistance to the very flow they sought to verify. His shop prospered not because he had evidence it would, but because his certainty created a channel through which prosperity could naturally flow. The universe responds not to our doubts, but to our deepest convictions. When you insist on proof before faith, you place yourself in opposition to the natural order of creation. It is like demanding to see the oak tree before planting the acorn, an impossibility that defies the very nature of manifestation. Those who master this law understand that evidence follows faith as surely as dawn follows night. They know that demanding proof is a form of resistance, while calm acceptance opens the gates of possibility. This is not blind faith, but rather an enlightened understanding of how energy moves into form. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment at sunrise or sunset. Settle into a comfortable position and close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths, allowing each exhale to release the need for immediate proof or validation. Now, speak these words with gentle authority. I need not see to know the truth of what is coming. My faith is the bridge between desire and manifestation. I trust in the perfect unfolding of all things. Repeat this practice daily, letting your trust grow naturally like a seed nourished by sun and rain. Remember, the universe does not require your understanding. It asks only for your faith. Chapter 10. The Art of Joyful Expectation. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, Betty sat at her small jewelry stall, her handcrafted pieces glinting in the morning sun. Each day she crafted beautiful ornaments, yet her inner dialogue whispered tales of scarcity. Who will buy today? She wondered, her shoulders heavy with doubt. The universe, ever faithful to our expectations, answered her uncertainty with empty hours and sparse sales. Yet within every moment of lack lies a seed of transformation. The ancient wisdom teaches us that expectation shapes the invisible architecture of our reality. Like a master builder sketching blueprints before laying stone, your anticipation designs the structure of coming events. When you expect with trepidation, you construct barriers to abundance. Your anxiety becomes the foundation, your doubt the walls, your fear the roof under which your experiences must dwell. But when you expect with joy, you architect spacious halls of possibility where prosperity flows freely. Floyd, a humble street musician, discovered this truth in the depths of winter. Each morning he positioned himself at the subway entrance, guitar in hand. At first his mind echoed Betty's pattern, counting meager coins, anticipating rejection. But one dawn, something shifted. Perhaps it was the way sunlight painted the frost on windows, or how his breath formed clouds in the crisp air. He began expecting magic. "Today will bring wonderful surprises," he whispered, tuning his guitar. He smiled at passers-by before they smiled at him. He played as if performing for kings, though his audience was hurried commuters. His expectation of joy became a magnetic force, drawing people to pause, listen, and share their generosity. The law of attraction responds not to what you wish for, but to what you expect with unwavering certainty. It mirrors back the essence of your deepest anticipations. When Floyd learned to expect with joy rather than hope with fear, the universe orchestrated a symphony of opportunities. His music caught the ear of a cafe owner, leading to regular performances. A music producer, running late and forced to take the subway, discovered his unique sound. His melodies now fill concert halls instead of subway stations. The invisible stage is always set according to your expectations. Every thought of "this will fail" constructs barriers, while each moment of joyful anticipation opens pathways. The power lies not in hoping things might improve, but in knowing with serene certainty that they already are improving. Practice. As the sun rises each morning before your feet touch the floor, name aloud one wonderful surprise awaiting you today. Feel the tingling anticipation of good fortune approaching. Let this expectancy become your constant companion, a living vibration that invites delight. For what you expect with joy becomes the invisible blueprint from which the universe builds your tomorrow. Chapter 11. Listening to Energy. In a quiet valley among ancient olive groves lived Hazel, a weaver known for her intricate tapestries. Though her hands moved skillfully across the loom, she constantly second-guessed her creative impulses, allowing logic to override the subtle whispers of her inner knowing. Each time she ignored these gentle nudges, her work lost its spark, becoming technically perfect, but spiritually empty. The universe speaks first through feeling, before thought forms words. This sacred dialogue flows constantly beneath the surface of your conscious awareness, carrying messages meant to guide you toward alignment with your highest path. When you learn to attune to these subtle frequencies, you discover an inner compass more reliable than any external map. Your intuition is not mere wishful thinking or emotional whimsy. It is the voice of universal intelligence expressing itself through your being. Like radio waves that surround you invisibly until tuned to the right frequency, intuitive guidance flows perpetually, waiting for your receptivity. Marvin, a merchant who traded spices along the Silk Road, learned this truth through costly experience. His rational mind insisted on taking the northern route, despite an inexplicable unease in his stomach. He dismissed these feelings as baseless anxiety, choosing instead to trust his careful calculations and years of experience. The journey proved treacherous, with landslides blocking passages he could have avoided had he heeded his inner warning. Season after season, Marvin repeated this pattern, fighting against his subtle knowing until losses mounted and weariness set in. Then one dawn, as he prepared another journey, he felt a warm pull toward the southern route. Instead of dismissing this guidance, he paused. In that moment of stillness, he recognized the same voice he had been ignoring, only this time, he listened. That journey transformed his understanding of success. As he followed his intuitive promptings, synchronicities appeared like stepping stones across a stream. A chance encounter led to new trading partnerships. A spontaneous stop revealed rare spices he'd never known existed, weather that would have delayed his usual route passed harmlessly elsewhere. The universe orchestrated a symphony of fortunate events, all because he finally tuned into its guidance. The law of attraction operates not just through conscious intention, but through this subtle language of intuitive knowing. Your inner guidance system is perpetually receiving signals from the field of infinite intelligence, translating universal wisdom into feelings, hunches, and inexplicable knowing. Practice. Find a quiet space each day where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and turn your attention inward. Allow yourself to become aware of any emotions present without trying to change or judge them. Notice the subtle sensations in your body, the tightness or ease, warmth or coolness, expansion or contraction. These feelings are the beginning of a conversation with the universal field itself. As you practice this simple awareness, your sensitivity to intuitive guidance will naturally deepen, opening new pathways for wisdom to flow into your life. Part 2. The Mastery of Vibration. Chapter 12. Healing Through Alignment. High in the mountains lived a healer known for her ability to sense the subtle currents of life force. In her wisdom, she understood that every ailment began first as a disturbance in the energy field before manifesting in physical form. People would journey from distant lands seeking her guidance, yet she would often smile and say, "The medicine you seek lies within your own heart." Ruth, a woman whose body bore the weight of ancient hurts, came to the healer's door. For years, she had carried the thorns of past betrayals, each memory a knot of pain that had slowly transformed into physical suffering. Her joints ached with the stiffness of unspoken words, her breath shallow from holding back tears that yearned to flow. The invisible realm of energy responds with perfect precision to our emotional state. Like a mirror reflecting our inner world, the body manifests what the heart harbors. When we hold on to grievances, we create blockages in our life force that eventually surface as physical discomfort. Ruth's healing began not with herbs or remedies, but with the gentle art of releasing. Each morning, she learned to sit in silence, acknowledging the pain she had stored within her cells. As she softened her resistance to old wounds, something remarkable occurred. Her body began to respond. The stiffness that had plagued her for years slowly yielded to a new flexibility. This eternal truth reveals itself through countless stories of transformation. Clyde, a merchant who carried the burden of betrayal in his shoulders, discovered this sacred principle. For decades, he had tensed against memories of those who had wronged him, until his neck and back became rigid with resistance. Yet when he finally opened his heart to forgiveness, not for others, but for his own liberation, his pain began to dissolve like morning mist in sunlight. His story illuminates the power of vibrational harmony. As he released the energy of resentment, his body no longer needed to manifest discord. His healing wasn't immediate. It unfolded gradually, like a flower opening to dawn light. But with each day of conscious forgiveness, his physical form responded to the new frequency he chose to embody. The body speaks the language of energy with unfailing accuracy. Every cell resonates with the vibration we maintain. Every tissue reflects the stories we tell ourselves. When we shift our inner harmony, our physical vessel follows suit, demonstrating the inseparable connection between energy and form. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Begin at your feet and slowly move upward, blessing each part of your body with gentle attention. As you reach areas of discomfort, pause and whisper words of gratitude and forgiveness. Feel the warmth of healing energy flowing through each region you address. Continue until you reach the crown of your head, allowing peace to replace any tension you encounter. This ancient practice, when performed with sincerity, opens channels for restoration and renewed vitality. Chapter 13. The Compass of Desire. In a village among ancient hills lived a weaver named Esther, whose fingers could spin the finest threads, but whose heart remained knotted with guilt. Each time she yearned for finer materials or dreamed of expanding her workshop, shame would cloud her spirit. "Who am I to want more?" she would whisper to herself, pushing her dreams back into shadow. The universe speaks through desire, not as a test of virtue, but as a compass pointing toward your highest expression. When you suppress these sacred impulses, you dim the light that seeks to shine through you. Each authentic desire carries within it the seed of divine expansion, waiting to unfold through you into the physical world. Think of desire as water in a mountain stream. It does not question whether it deserves to flow, nor does it apologize for seeking its path to the sea. The stream's nature is to flow, just as your nature is to grow, expand, and create. When you judge your desires as greed, you dam the natural current of life force that wishes to express through you. Percy, a humble potter, understood this truth only after years of restraining his artistry. He crafted simple bowls when his heart longed to create magnificent vessels. One day, watching a bird soar overhead, he realized, does the bird apologize for its flight? Does the flower apologize for blooming? That moment transformed his relationship with desire. He began to craft the pieces that lived in his dreams, and soon his work attracted admirers from distant lands. His expansion blessed not only himself, but all who beheld his creations. Your desires are not random impulses. They are the universe's way of evolving through you. When you honor them, you align with the creative force that shapes galaxies and blooms flowers. This is not greed. It is grace in motion. A merchant named Yun once walked the Silk Road with a caravan of traders. While others bargained for profit alone, she followed an inner calling to bring beauty to distant lands. Her desire was not merely for wealth, but for connection, for sharing the artistry of her people with the world. Through her openness to expansion, she created bridges between cultures that lasted generations. The difference between greed and sacred desire lies in the feeling tone. Greed constricts and grasps, while authentic desire expands and uplifts. Greed seeks to take. True desire seeks to express and contribute. When you align with genuine desire, you become a channel for universal creativity. Practice. Each morning, sit in quiet contemplation and place a hand over your heart. Allow yourself to feel one pure desire arise naturally. Rather than judging it, honor it as sacred guidance from Source toward your fullest growth and expression. Breathe into this desire, blessing it as divine wisdom speaking through you. Notice how this acceptance creates space for clarity and inspired action to emerge. Chapter 14. The silence between thoughts. In ancient times, a revered sage shared this wisdom. In the spaces between sounds lies the music of creation. This truth comes alive through the tale of Lucy, whose life overflowed with constant activity. She filled every moment with television's glow, radio's chatter, or the endless scroll of digital distractions. Behind this perpetual noise lay a deep fear, the fear of meeting herself in silence. Within stillness dwells the sacred power of manifestation. When we quiet the outer world, the inner universe begins to speak. Yet many, like Lucy, resist this gateway to transformation, believing that in silence they might encounter uncomfortable truths or unresolved emotions. The universe operates through the law of vibration, and silence is the canvas upon which new frequencies can be painted. When your mind is cluttered with noise, it becomes impossible to attune to the subtle energies that guide and shape your reality. Like trying to hear a whispered secret in a crowded marketplace, the vital messages of your soul become lost in the cacophony of constant stimulation. Arnold discovered this truth through necessity rather than choice. During a power outage that lasted 3 days, he found himself stripped of his usual distractions. Initially, the silence felt oppressive, almost hostile. Yet as hours passed, something remarkable began to unfold. In the absence of external noise, his thoughts began to settle like leaves after a storm. The stillness he once feared became a sanctuary. Within this newfound quiet, Arnold began to perceive the subtle language of intuition. Ideas that would transform his business emerged with crystal clarity. Solutions to long-standing problems appeared effortlessly. The universe, it seemed, had been waiting patiently to speak. He had simply never granted it the silence necessary to be heard. The law of attraction works most powerfully in moments of inner quiet. When the mind's constant chatter subsides, your true vibration can align with your desires. Think of silence as a clear pool of water. Only when the surface is still can it perfectly reflect the sky above. Your thoughts are seeds of creation, but they require the fertile soil of silence to take root and flourish. In the spaces between thoughts, the infinite intelligence of the universe can begin its perfect work of manifestation. Practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Begin by simply observing your breath without trying to change it. As thoughts arise, acknowledge them gently and let them pass, like clouds in a vast sky. Gradually allow yourself to sink deeper into the silence. Remain here for at least 15 minutes, letting the stillness wash over you like gentle waves. In this sacred space, notice what whispers emerge from your soul. What visions or inspirations arise when you finally grant yourself permission to be still? Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 15: The Reflection Principle. In a distant village lived a weaver named Martha, whose tapestries were as tangled as her relationships. Each morning she would rise to find fault with the world. Her neighbors were too noisy, her customers too demanding, her friends too unreliable. Like threads knotted by careless hands, her connections with others became increasingly strained. The universal law of reflection stands as one of the most powerful yet overlooked principles of creation. Every interaction you experience serves as a mirror, revealing not the truth about others, but the hidden landscapes within your own consciousness. What you perceive as external conflict invariably reflects internal discord seeking resolution. When you encounter repeated patterns in relationships, whether in business, family, or friendship, these are not random occurrences, but precise reflections of your vibrational state. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, continuously arranges these mirrors before you, offering opportunities for growth and transformation. Consider Elmer, a merchant whose business partnerships consistently dissolved in bitter disputes. He blamed his partner's dishonesty, their lack of vision, their betrayal of trust. Yet beneath these accusations lay a deeper truth, his own deep-seated fear of abandonment, manifesting as controlling behavior that pushed others away. The turning point came when Elmer recognized himself in the pattern. His insecurity had created a self-fulfilling prophecy, drawing exactly the experiences that confirmed his fears. Rather than fighting against this reflection, he chose to face it with courage and compassion. As Elmer worked to heal his relationship with himself, a remarkable transformation occurred. His defensive walls softened, his need to control lessened, and as his internal landscape shifted, so too did his external reality. New partnerships flourished, built on mutual trust rather than fear. The law teaches that every person in your life acts as a messenger, bringing awareness to aspects of yourself seeking acknowledgement. Those who trigger strongest reactions often carry the most valuable messages. When you find yourself in conflict, the universe is not punishing you. It is presenting a gift of self-discovery. What appears as another's fault is often a projection of your own unresolved patterns. The critical colleague reflects your self-judgment. The unreliable friend mirrors where you have abandoned yourself. The controlling partner shows where you seek to control life itself. Practice. When conflict arises, pause and turn your attention inward. Ask yourself, what aspect of me is being reflected in this situation? Sit quietly with this question. Notice any resistance, any urge to blame or defend. Breathe deeply and allow yourself to see beyond the surface drama to the deeper truth within. Write down 3 ways this situation might be mirroring your own thoughts, beliefs, or behaviors. Then, with great gentleness, consider what part of yourself is asking for healing and understanding. This is not about self-blame, but self-awareness, the first step toward true transformation. Chapter 16. The Cosmic Echo. In a small coastal village, Agnes walked the shoreline each morning, her mind a constant stream of critical observations. She noticed the unkempt gardens of her neighbors, their poorly maintained fences, and what she deemed as their questionable life choices. With each passing thought, her world grew increasingly hostile. Neighbors became distant, opportunities turned sour, and her own garden withered despite her meticulous care. The universe operates as a perfect mirror, reflecting back the energy we project into it. Every judgment cast outward returns inward with precise accuracy. This is not punishment, but rather the natural expression of universal law. The outer world must match the inner frequency we maintain. When you perceive faults in others, you activate that very frequency within yourself. The mind cannot distinguish between observed imperfection and embodied imperfection. It simply resonates with whatever holds your attention. This is why masters of old spoke of the dangers of judgment. not because judgment is inherently wrong, but because it creates a vibrational pattern that the universe must echo back. Howard, a shopkeeper in the same village, discovered this truth through his own journey. His small store had struggled for years as he mentally cataloged the flaws of every customer, their indecision, their complaints, their bargaining. Yet when he began to consciously seek the light in each person who entered his shop, a remarkable transformation occurred. Where he once saw demanding customers, he began to notice their enthusiasm for quality. Where he previously labeled them as cheap, he recognized careful stewardship of resources. As Howard's perception shifted, so did his reality. Customers lingered longer, smiled more freely, and returned more frequently. His shop, once struggling, became a gathering place of warmth and connection. The very same people he had criticized now brought him gifts and recommended his store to others. Nothing in the external world had changed, only his chosen frequency of perception. This law operates with mathematical precision in every area of life. When you find yourself surrounded by unreliable people, examine your own expectations of betrayal. If you encounter repeated rudeness, look for where you might be holding judgment. The universe cannot give you an experience that doesn't match your energetic broadcast. The practice of transforming judgment into appreciation is not about denying reality or pretending everything is perfect. Rather, it is about choosing which frequency you wish to strengthen through your attention. Every time you catch yourself in criticism, pause and ask, what light can I find here? What aspect of this can I genuinely appreciate? Practice. Sit quietly each morning and evening. Allow your thoughts to surface naturally, paying special attention to judgments about others or situations. As each critical thought arises, gently transform it into genuine appreciation. If you notice someone's disorganization, praise their creativity. If you see someone's fear, honor their caution. Continue this practice until you feel your perception shift from criticism to compassion. Your world will shift accordingly. Chapter 17. Living from the Future. In a humble village, a potter named Goldie spent her days crafting vessels while dwelling on past failures. Each time opportunity knocked, memories of former setbacks would flood her mind, causing her hands to tremble and her work to crack. Though skilled beyond measure, she remained trapped in the shadow of what had been, rather than the light of what could be. The universe speaks in the present moment, yet Goldie's ears were tuned to yesterday's echoes. Every potential customer who praised her work was met with tales of past rejections. Every invitation to showcase her art was declined with whispers of "remember when." Her talent lay dormant beneath layers of dated disappointments. The law of time reveals a sacred truth. Your future self already exists in perfect form. This version of you stands complete, successful, and radiant with achievement. When you act from this future self rather than your past identity, reality begins its swift alignment with your highest vision. Consider Vernon, a street vendor who understood this principle. Though his cart held only simple goods, he carried himself with the dignity of a merchant prince. He treated each customer as though they walked into a grand emporium rather than a humble stand. He wrapped each purchase with the care of presenting crown jewels. He managed his modest earnings with the precision of a banking magnate. Those who knew him smiled at his graceful manner, but Vernon knew the truth. He was not pretending. He had simply chosen to live from his future reality rather than his present circumstance. Each morning he stepped into the energy of the successful businessman he would become. Each interaction flowed from this expanded identity. Within months, opportunities began seeking him out. A wealthy patron, impressed by his impeccable service, offered investment. A prime retail location became mysteriously available at precisely the right time. His small cart evolved into a shop, then a series of stores, each transformation perfectly matching the inner image he had long maintained. This principle transcends mere positive thinking. It is the art of quantum living, allowing your future self to guide your present choices. When you act from the energy of fulfillment rather than the energy of wanting, you transmit a different signal to the universe. Your vibration shifts from seeking to having, from hoping to knowing. The present moment is your point of power. Yet most live from their past, letting old stories dictate new chapters. True mastery lies in reaching forward in consciousness, greeting your achieved self, and allowing that energy to infuse your now. This is not pretense, but energetic truth. Your future self is as real as your past self, and far more empowering to embody. Let your actions spring from completion rather than lack. Move through your day as though your dreams have already manifested. Speak from success. Choose from abundance. Give from wealth, even before these states appear in physical form. The universe will rush to match your energetic stance. Practice. For the next 7 days, begin each morning by closing your eyes and stepping fully into your future self's energy. Feel how this achieved version of you moves, speaks, and makes decisions. Then carry this energy through your day, letting it guide every action and interaction. Watch as reality reshapes itself to mirror your elevated vibration. Chapter 18. The Balance Between Doing and Being. In a small mountain village, there lived a weaver named Flora, who worked tirelessly at her loom from dawn until dusk. Each day she pushed herself harder, believing that constant motion would bring the success she sought. Her fingers moved frantically across the threads, her shoulders tense with determination. Yet, despite her relentless effort, her creations lacked the beauty she envisioned, and prosperity remained elusive. The universe speaks through patterns, and in Flora's case, it whispered a truth she had yet to grasp. Action without alignment is like rowing against the current. You may move, but the destination remains distant. The law of attraction operates not through force, but through harmony between being and doing. In the same village lived Chester, a potter whose journey revealed this ancient wisdom. Like Flora, he once labored without rest, his hands constantly spinning clay, but his vessels emerged misshapen, cracking in the kiln. One day, exhausted and frustrated, he stopped. In that pause, he felt something shift. He began spacing his work with periods of quiet contemplation, allowing his energy to settle like still water. A remarkable transformation followed. During these moments of stillness, inspiration would arise naturally. When he returned to his wheel, his hands moved with grace rather than urgency. His pots took on an elegant form that seemed to emerge from the clay itself rather than being forced upon it. Soon, merchants sought his work, and abundance flowed as naturally as a spring. This teaching unveils a fundamental truth. Creation requires both movement and stillness. Just as nature alternates between seasons of growth and rest, Your manifestation power strengthens when you balance doing with being. The pause between actions is not empty. It is fertile ground where intention takes root. The universe responds not to the volume of your effort, but to the clarity of your vibration. When you align first, then act, you move in harmony with the creative force that shapes reality. This is the difference between pushing against life and dancing with it. Ancient manifestation practice. Find a quiet space as dawn approaches. Sit in stillness for several breaths, allowing your energy to settle. Then rise and perform one important task with full presence. Return to stillness, sensing how this rhythm of action and alignment feels in your body. Gradually expand this practice throughout your day, alternating periods of focused activity with moments of conscious pause. Notice how opportunities begin to appear with less strain, as if carried to you on an invisible current. Chapter 19. The River of Timing. In the quiet mountain village, Hattie sat at her desk each morning, her calendar marked with rigid timelines and self-imposed ultimatums. "By spring, I must launch my healing center," she would declare, gripping her pen so tightly her knuckles turned white. With each passing season, her frustration mounted as the universe seemed to ignore her carefully crafted schedules. Every morning, she would force herself through visualization exercises, attempting to manifest her dreams through sheer will. Yet the more she pushed, the more obstacles appeared. Permits were delayed, potential locations fell through, and partners withdrew their support. Her rigid expectations had become chains, binding her to disappointment. The universal law speaks clearly on this matter. Timing flows from alignment, not from force. When you squeeze time, it slips through your fingers like water. When you release your grip, it pools naturally in perfect formation. In the same village lived Wilbur, a potter who understood the art of divine timing. He too dreamed of sharing his gift with others by opening a studio. Yet instead of forcing his vision into existence, he spent his days perfecting his craft and maintaining a state of joyful readiness. He knew that creation, like clay, requires both skillful hands and patient waiting. As months passed, Wilbur continued his work without attachment to when his studio would manifest. He noticed how the seasons never rushed. Winter didn't force spring's arrival, and autumn didn't demand summer's departure. Following nature's wisdom, he remained in peaceful anticipation. Then one morning, as naturally as dew forms on grass, an elderly artist approached Wilbur. She was retiring and sought someone to take over her well-established studio, a space far more perfect than anything Wilbur could have planned. The timing aligned precisely with his mastery of his craft and the community's readiness for his teaching. The law reveals that divine timing operates through resonance, not resistance. When you align with the natural flow of creation, circumstances orchestrate themselves with an intelligence far superior to human planning. Force creates friction, while allowance invites grace. Just as a flower cannot be rushed into bloom, your dreams unfold according to universal law, not human schedules. Each apparent delay serves as sacred choreography, positioning people, resources, and opportunities in perfect sequence. Ancient practice. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Envision each delay in your life as a master choreographer, arranging events for your highest good. With each breath, release the grip of timing from your dreams. Whisper, "I trust the perfect unfolding of my path. Divine timing guides my steps." Let this practice remind you that what appears as waiting often serves as preparation for possibilities greater than your plans could have designed. Chapter 20. The Quantum of Faith. In a distant mountain village, Bonnie spent her days weaving tapestries, each thread carrying her dream of establishing a school for artisans. Yet whenever she spoke of her vision, others reminded her of impossibilities, the village's remoteness, lack of resources, and the old ways that resisted change. With each discouraging word, her dream seemed to drift further, like autumn leaves on a restless wind. The universe speaks in the language of certainty, not probability. When you plant a seed, you do not question if it understands how to become a flower. You trust in the intelligence that transforms potential into being. This same law governs all creation. What you hold as absolutely true in your heart must manifest in your world. Consider Norris, a humble shepherd who envisioned creating music that would touch souls across continents. Logic dictated that a shepherd without formal training could never compose symphonies. Yet Norris carried his dream with such unwavering certainty that the very hills seemed to whisper melodies to him. He did not ask how, he simply knew. Each evening, after tending his flock, he would sit beneath the stars and transcribe the music he heard in his heart, never doubting its eventual expression in the world. What others called miracles began to unfold. A traveling musician discovered Norris's compositions. The pure certainty with which he had infused his music caught the attention of renowned orchestras. His melodies, born of shepherding and starlight, now echo through grand concert halls, touching hearts just as he had always known they would. The universe responds not to what you think possible, but to what you know as true. Probability is the language of the limited mind. Certainty is the frequency of the infinite. When you declare your vision as already accomplished in the unseen realms, you align with the creative force that turns dreams into reality. Your task is not to figure out how your vision will manifest. That belongs to the infinite intelligence that orchestrates galaxies. Your role is to hold your knowing steady, like a lighthouse beam that never wavers regardless of the storm. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment as dawn breaks or dusk settles. Close your eyes and declare your vision as already accomplished. Feel the completion in your heart, not as a future hope, but as a present reality. Let your body relax into this knowing as naturally as you trust the sun to rise. Maintain this feeling of absolute certainty for several minutes, allowing any doubts to pass by like clouds, while you rest in the unshakable knowing that what you envision already exists in the realm of pure potential, simply awaiting its perfect moment of expression. Chapter 21. The Portal of Love. In a bustling marketplace, Pearl sat at her flower stall, her heart heavy with judgment. Though surrounded by nature's beauty, she saw only the thorns of life, customers who haggled too hard, competitors who undercut her prices, and passers-by who failed to notice her carefully arranged bouquets. Her bitterness grew like shadows at sunset, dimming the vibrant colors before her. Love stands as the highest frequency in the universe, the pure tone from which all creation springs forth. When you withhold love, you restrict the flow of life force itself. Your judgment becomes a dam, blocking the river of abundance that seeks to nourish your garden of possibilities. Consider the transformation of Pearl, who discovered that her critical gaze had become a lens darkening all experience. Each morning, she began offering silent blessings to every person who passed her stall, regardless of whether they purchased flowers. She chose to see the divine spark in hurried customers, the sacred potential in rival vendors. As her heart opened, her flowers seemed to bloom more vibrantly, their fragrance drawing people naturally to her stall. Norman's story mirrors this truth with equal power. As a craftsman whose workshop had fallen into financial struggle, he realized his resentment toward more successful artisans had become a poison in his creative well. He began each day by blessing his competitors, celebrating their achievements as victories for the craft itself. He shared techniques freely, offered encouragement to newcomers, and found joy in others' success. What followed seemed miraculous to those who didn't understand the law. His work gained recognition, collaborative opportunities emerged, and prosperity flowed as naturally as spring water. By radiating love without condition, Norman had aligned himself with the universe's fundamental creative current. This is the secret vibration. Love does not react to circumstances, it creates them. When you choose to love despite outer appearances, you activate the highest frequency of manifestation. Every particle of existence responds to this tone, rearranging itself to match your loving resonance. The universe cannot help but mirror back the frequency you emit. When that frequency is unconditional love, you become a living channel for creation's finest possibilities. Your very presence becomes a blessing, and life conspires to reflect back the love you share. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and center yourself in stillness. With each inhale, imagine drawing in pure, universal love. With each exhale, radiate this love outward like gentle sunlight, blessing everyone and everything in your awareness. Continue this practice until you feel your heart expanding with genuine goodwill. Let this loving vibration accompany you throughout your day, knowing that as you bathe the world in this quiet blessing, you activate creation's most powerful frequency. Part 3. The Creation of Heaven Within. Chapter 22. The Rhythm of Forgiveness. In a small village among ancient hills lived a woman named Ida, whose shoulders bore the invisible weight of past hurts. Each morning she would wake to tend her garden, yet the flowers seemed dim through the veil of her accumulated guilt. Though her hands moved through soil rich with possibility, her spirit remained tethered to memories that demanded payment for old debts. The universe speaks through the language of vibration, and guilt resonates at the lowest frequencies of human experience. Like a heavy blanket that muffles life's symphony, it dampens the natural flow of abundance and joy. When you hold tight to guilt, you declare yourself unworthy of life's gifts, and the universe, ever faithful to your deepest beliefs, reflects this judgment back to you. This truth manifested clearly in Ida's life. Though opportunities for joy appeared regularly, she turned from them, believing herself undeserving. Her garden, though tended with diligence, never bloomed with the vibrance she desired. The very soil seemed to mirror her inner state, heavy, compressed, resistant to new growth. Yet transformation awaited in the wisdom of release. In the neighboring village lived Orville, a carpenter who once carried similar burdens. His workshop had been a temple of self-punishment, each strike of his hammer an act of penance for perceived failures. But one dawn, as he watched sunlight filter through morning mist, he understood a fundamental truth. The universe holds no ledger of wrongs. That morning, Orville laid down his heavy thoughts as one might set aside a worn coat. He stopped seeing his work as repayment for past mistakes and began viewing it as an expression of joy. With each piece he crafted, the wood seemed to respond differently to his touch. Grain patterns emerged more beautifully, joints fitted more perfectly, and his creations took on a quality of grace that drew admirers from distant towns. The shift in his vibration changed not only his craft but his entire life. Relationships healed without effort, opportunities appeared unsought, and a gentle peace settled over his days. His transformation illuminated an eternal truth. Forgiveness is not merely an act of kindness to others or yourself. It is the key that unlocks your natural state of well-being. Sacred practice. Sit in quietude as the sun rises or sets. Envision a crystal-clear river flowing through your being. Watch as each current of water dissolves the dark cords of resentment, guilt, and blame that have wrapped around your heart. Feel the lightness that remains as each cord dissolves into pure light. Let this river of forgiveness flow until only peace remains, knowing that in this neutral space, new possibilities await. Chapter 23. The Light of Purpose. In a distant village there lived a woman named Nell who spent her days drifting between tasks without connection to any of them. Each morning she would wake, perform her duties, and return to sleep, feeling an emptiness that no material comfort could fill. Her house was filled with possessions, yet her spirit remained unfurnished. Like water seeking its course, the energy of life flows toward meaning. When we move without purpose, we scatter our creative force to the winds. The universe responds not just to our actions, but to the intention behind them. Purpose acts as a cosmic magnet, drawing to us the very experiences, people, and opportunities that align with our deeper calling. This truth echoes through the ages. Those who discover their purpose find that life itself conspires to support their path. It is not the size of the purpose that matters, but rather the authenticity with which it resonates in your heart. Some are called to heal, others to create, still others to teach or nurture. The form matters less than the conviction with which it is embraced. Leonard, a humble craftsman, discovered this wisdom through his own journey. For years, he created furniture merely to earn his living, taking little joy in his work. His creations, though skillfully made, lacked the spark that distinguishes mere craft from art. Then one day, while watching a young family delight in gathering around one of his tables, something shifted within him. He realized his true purpose was not just to build furniture, but to create spaces where love could flourish and memories could take root. From that moment, Leonard approached each piece as a sacred vessel for future moments of connection. He began selecting wood not just for its grain, but for the stories it could tell. His workshops transformed from places of labor to sanctuaries of creation. As his purpose infused his work, word of his unique pieces spread. Orders flowed in without effort, and abundance followed naturally, not because he sought it, but because he had aligned with his soul's calling. The universe honors authentic purpose with its full creative force. When we align our actions with meaning, we tap into currents of energy far greater than our individual efforts. This is why those who work solely for gain often struggle, while those who serve a higher purpose find that prosperity arrives unbidden. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment at dawn or dusk. Close your eyes and recall activities that make your soul feel expanded and alive. Notice which pursuits bring a warmth to your chest or a lightness to your being. Without judgment or analysis, simply observe what makes your spirit stir. Write these moments in a journal, not as future plans, but as gentle acknowledgments of your soul's natural inclinations. Commit silently to follow these glimmers of purpose, trusting that as you honor your authentic path, the universe will illuminate each step forward. Chapter 24. The Infinite Garden. In a small village near the mountains, Olive lived with eyes fixed on what she lacked. Each morning, she counted her meager savings, fearing there would never be enough. Her garden withered from neglect as she hoarded seeds instead of planting them, convinced next season would bring drought. When neighbors asked for help, she turned away, believing she had nothing to spare. Her world grew smaller with each refusal, until her house felt more like a fortress than a home. The universe speaks through patterns, and in Olive's life the pattern was clear. What she withheld from others, life withheld from her. This ancient truth whispers across time. Abundance flows not through accumulation, but through circulation. Every act of giving creates a channel through which more can return. In the same village lived Clifford, a baker who understood this sacred exchange. Though his shop was modest, he always set aside fresh loaves for those who couldn't pay. He shared his knowledge freely with aspiring bakers, teaching them the secrets of his craft without fear of competition. When storms damaged a neighbor's roof, he offered not just his coins, but his time, working alongside others to make repairs. As seasons passed, something remarkable unfolded. Clifford's generosity created ripples that returned as waves. Farmers brought him their finest grain at fair prices. Students he taught sent customers his way. His simple bakery became a gathering place where abundance flowed naturally, proving that wealth multiplies through sharing rather than saving. The law of increase operates through generosity. Each gift offered with pure intent plants a seed in the fertile soil of possibility. These seeds multiply not by mathematical progression, but by divine expansion. A smile freely given may return as an unexpected opportunity. A moment of kindness might bloom into a lifetime of friendship. When you grasp this truth, scarcity reveals itself as an illusion. The universe stands ready to match and multiply every generous impulse. Your resources are not diminished by sharing but enhanced. For giving aligns you with the natural flow of abundance. Practice. Give joyfully. Time, compliments, attention, letting generosity prove your faith in endless supply. Begin each day by asking, "How may I serve?" Let your heart guide you to small acts of kindness. Share what you have, without expectation of return. Notice how each gift creates space for new blessings to enter your life. Chapter 25. The Sweetness of Presence. In ancient times there lived a weaver named Doris who rushed through her days with frantic energy. Her fingers flew across the loom, racing against time itself, always hurrying toward some imagined future where peace would finally arrive. Yet peace remained elusive, for she lived not in the moment of creation, but in the anxiety of what was yet to come. Her cloth, though abundant, lacked the intricate beauty it might have held. Each thread bore witness to her scattered attention, telling tales of a mind forever dwelling in tomorrow. "When I finish this piece," she would whisper, "then I shall rest." But rest never came, for another task always beckoned from the horizon of time. The universe whispers its deepest truths in the language of presence. When your attention rests fully in the now, you align with the creative force that births worlds. Each breath becomes a gateway to infinite potential, each moment a vessel of divine possibility. Consider Wesley, a potter whose hands once trembled with impatience. He too lived in the future, his thoughts always racing ahead to the next vessel, the next sail, the next achievement. His bowls, though serviceable, carried the energy of haste rather than artistry. Then came the day when Wesley discovered the sacred art of presence. He began to feel the clay as though for the first time. Its coolness, its yielding nature, its infinite potential. He noticed how it responded to the subtlest pressure of his fingers. Time seemed to expand around him as he worked, each moment revealing new possibilities. As Wesley learned to inhabit each breath fully, his creations transformed. The bowls that emerged from his wheel now held a quality that drew gasps of wonder. People said they could feel the peace emanating from his pottery. His work became sought after not merely for its form, but for the presence it carried. This same power awaits within every moment of your life. When you rush through tasks, treating the present as merely a bridge to the future, you miss the miracles unfolding before you. The universe operates in the eternal now. It knows no other time. All manifestation springs from the depth of presence. To access this power, you must first recognize that this moment contains all you seek. The future you chase exists as potential within the now. By fully inhabiting each breath, each action, you align with the creative force that shapes reality. The practice of presence opens doors that haste keeps firmly shut. When you slow down enough to truly taste life, to feel the texture of each moment, you discover that abundance has been surrounding you all along. What appeared as ordinary tasks reveal themselves as opportunities for communion with the infinite. Practice. Find a quiet space and settle into stillness. Begin to move with deliberate slowness, perhaps lifting a cup, turning a page, or simply breathing. Notice the sounds around you, the sensations in your body, the quality of the air. Let each movement become a meditation, a celebration of now. As you practice this presence, observe how reality shifts, revealing the prosperity that has always existed within each sacred moment. Chapter 26. The Symphony of Cooperation. Within an ancient marketplace, a merchant named Jean meticulously arranged her wares each morning, eyeing her competitors with suspicion. She measured her success against others' failures, believing prosperity was a finite resource to be won through cunning and force. Each day became a battlefield where another's gain meant her loss, until her heart grew heavy with the weight of constant struggle. The universe speaks through patterns, and the law of harmony reveals that abundance multiplies through cooperation rather than competition. Just as flowers bloom side by side, drawing sustenance from the same soil without diminishing each other's beauty, so too does human potential expand when we recognize our interconnected nature. When Jean witnessed a neighboring merchant's stall flourish, her first response was fear, until she noticed how their success drew more visitors to the marketplace, creating prosperity for all. This truth whispered to her soul, "What benefits one benefits the whole." The energy of abundance knows no scarcity, for it flows endlessly when hearts align in mutual support. In a distant valley, Eugene discovered this same principle in his pottery workshop. Where once he guarded his techniques jealously, he began sharing his knowledge freely with other artisans. As their skills grew, so did the reputation of their village. Soon, collectors traveled from far lands seeking not just Eugene's work, but the creations of all the local craftsmen. Their combined creativity had birthed something greater than any could achieve alone. The law of attraction responds not to isolated actions, but to the harmonious dance of collective intention. When you celebrate another's victory as your own, you align with the natural flow of universal abundance. Each person's success becomes evidence of possibility, expanding the field of potential for all. Think of a garden. When one flower blooms, it does not diminish the sun's ability to nourish others. Instead, its beauty attracts more pollinators, enriching the entire ecosystem. Similarly, in the realm of manifestation, others' achievements create energetic pathways that all may follow. The ancient practice. Find a quiet space at dawn or dusk. Close your eyes and bring to mind someone who has recently experienced success. Let their triumph fill your heart with genuine joy. Whisper these words. Your light illuminates the path for all. In your victory, I see the infinite abundance available to each soul. As you rise, we all rise. Feel the truth of these words dissolve any remnants of competition or lack. Chapter 27. The Golden Thread of Faithfulness. In the shadows of an ancient workshop, Viola stood before her half-finished creations, her heart heavy with doubt. Each morning brought fresh uncertainty, and with every setback she abandoned her work, starting anew with different dreams. The universe whispered its wisdom through her failures, yet she moved too swiftly to hear its guidance. The true nature of creation flows not from sporadic bursts of inspiration, but from steady devotion to a single vision. Like water shaping stone, it is the gentle persistence of focused energy that brings forth miracles. Each thought, consistently held, becomes a seed planted in fertile soil. Yet many forsake their gardens before the first shoots break through earth. In the realm of manifestation, patience pairs with persistence as twin forces of actualization. When you maintain unwavering focus while releasing attachment to time, you enter the sacred space where dreams take form. This is not the restless waiting of anxiety, but the peaceful continuing of certainty. Consider the tale of Franklin, who labored in solitude on his mysterious mechanism. For 3 years, he refined his invention without a single sign of success. Others mocked his dedication, suggesting he pursue easier paths. Yet Franklin understood that creation requires gestation in darkness before emerging into light. Each morning, he entered his workshop with the same quiet reverence, adjusting, refining, improving. He didn't demand immediate results or allow external doubts to penetrate his inner knowing. His hands moved with deliberate care. His mind remained anchored in faith, and his heart beat steady with unhurried purpose. Then one morning, without fanfare or warning, his persistence bore fruit. The mechanism whirred to life, its perfect function testimony to the power of sustained attention. What appeared as sudden success was actually the natural culmination of thousands of faithful moments strung together like pearls. This law operates with mathematical precision. Consistent energy directed toward any goal must eventually manifest in form. The universe responds not to sporadic enthusiasm, but to steady vibration. Like a musician mastering an instrument, it is daily practice that builds the bridge between vision and reality. The practice. Select one cherished goal and dedicate yourself to its realization through daily peaceful action. Each morning, spend 20 minutes in quiet focus on this single aim. Let your mind settle into calm certainty as you perform one small task toward its completion. Notice any urge to abandon or switch directions and simply continue. Through steady devotion, you align with the natural rhythm of manifestation, allowing your dreams to unfold with perfect timing. Chapter 28. The Circle of Joy. In ancient times, a merchant named Polly wandered through the markets of Damascus, her eyes fixed on distant dreams while missing the sweetness that surrounded her. Each morning she would say, "When my fortunes triple, then I shall celebrate. When my name spreads across 3 kingdoms, then I shall know contentment." She stored her smiles like precious gems, believing joy must be earned through achievement alone. In those same markets walked Elwood, a humble potter whose laugh rang out as freely as temple bells. Though his wares were simple, his spirit soared with an inner richness that drew others near. While his hands shaped clay, songs flowed from his lips. As he arranged his bowls for sale, he danced small steps between them. Even when trade was slow, his eyes sparkled with quiet mirth. The universe responds not to what we accomplish, but to the frequency we maintain. Your vibration must match your desired reality before, not after, its physical manifestation. This truth echoes through the ages. Joy attracts joy. Abundance flows toward abundance, and a heart that sings draws forth life's sweetest melodies. Polly watched as Elwood's pottery business flourished. Customers sought not just his crafts, but the warmth of his presence. His workshop expanded, yet his happiness remained unchanged. It had preceded his success rather than followed it. Through him, the ancient law revealed itself. A light heart magnetizes light circumstances. Your happiness cannot wait for external conditions. The path to manifestation begins with allowing yourself to feel good now, independent of results. Every moment you choose joy becomes a beacon, drawing more reasons for joy toward you. This is not mere positive thinking. It is vibrational physics at work. Practice. Each day, create small rituals of joy, whether singing in the morning light, dancing as you prepare your meals, or sharing quiet laughter with the sky. Let your happiness flow not from what you've achieved, but from the simple gift of being. These moments of lightness raise your frequency, while your desires ripen in the fertile soil of your gladness. Keep your spirit bright, knowing that joy itself is the magnet that draws all other blessings near. Chapter 29. The Crown of Still Confidence. A young woman named Ella sat before her mirror each morning, adjusting her clothing dozens of times, seeking an elusive perfection that constantly escaped her grasp. She measured her worth through others' reactions, desperately searching their faces for approval. Each social gathering became an exhausting performance where she analyzed every word spoken, every gesture made, wondering if she had finally proven herself worthy. The universe whispers a vital truth. Confidence flows not from external validation, but from inner stillness. Like a clear pool, True power requires no ripples of anxious movement to prove its depth. Your natural state is one of serene authority, not through force or display, but through the simple acceptance of your inherent worth. Consider Stanley, who once mirrored Ella's restless search for approval. He too had spent years performing for others, until one morning he discovered something profound. While meditating in his garden, he realized that the flowers never strained to justify their existence. They simply bloomed. In that moment, he understood that his worth, like theirs, was intrinsic. Stanley began practicing quiet certainty. He stopped explaining himself. He ceased the constant adjustments to his appearance and behavior. Instead, he moved through life with the natural dignity of one who knows their value needs no defense. To his amazement, others began responding differently. His colleagues listened more intently when he spoke. Strangers seemed drawn to his peaceful presence. He had discovered that true magnetism comes not from what we do, but from who we are when we stop doing. The law of attraction responds not to our outer displays, but to our inner knowing. When you stand in quiet certainty of your worth, the universe mirrors that certainty back to you in countless ways. Like a mountain that needs no announcement of its strength, your presence becomes its own power. To align with this truth, center yourself in the practice of serene dignity. Find a quiet space where you can stand or sit undisturbed. Close your eyes and breathe deeply, allowing each breath to settle you more firmly into your natural power. Feel dignity rising from within, not as a performance, but as a remembering. Let this feeling of quiet confidence hum beneath your skin until it becomes your natural state of being. This is not confidence that shouts. It is the silent knowing that whispers, "I am." Remember, the universe responds not to what you prove, but to what you are. Your worth is not earned, it simply is. In this truth lies the seed of genuine confidence, blooming naturally when you finally release the need to convince anyone of anything. Practice. Stand or sit in complete stillness, breathing deeply until you feel confidence humming beneath your skin as effortless dignity. Let this become your natural state of being, requiring no proof or performance. Chapter 30. The Return to Wholeness. In a distant village among ancient hills, there lived a woman named Vera, who spent her days traveling to distant temples and sacred sites, seeking the key to enlightenment. She collected scrolls of wisdom, attended ceremonies with renowned masters, and practiced countless rituals, yet inner peace remained elusive. Her seeking had become a form of suffering, each new teaching adding another layer of complexity rather than clarity. The universe operates through an eternal principle. What you seek has always resided within. Like a fish swimming desperately in search of water, humanity often looks outside for what already exists in abundance within their own being. Your consciousness is not separate from the universal consciousness. It is a perfect expression of it, complete and whole in every moment. When you understand this truth, seeking transforms into being. The eternal dance of creation reveals itself not as something to attain, but as your very essence. Just as waves are not separate from the ocean, your awareness is not separate from the infinite awareness that pervades all existence. In a humble cottage on the outskirts of town lived Delbert, a simple gardener who had never read a spiritual text or attended a single ceremony. Yet peace radiated from his presence, drawing others to sit quietly in his garden. One day, when asked about his secret, he simply smiled and continued tending his flowers. His answer lay not in words, but in his being, the natural state of alignment with what is. Delbert's story illustrates a profound truth. Enlightenment is not a destination, but a recognition. The moment he stopped trying to become something more and simply allowed himself to be, his natural radiance illuminated everything around him. His garden flourished not through complex techniques, but through his simple presence and attention. The greatest teachings are often the simplest. You are already what you seek to become. The power to create, to transform, to manifest. These are not abilities to be acquired, but your inherent nature waiting to be recognized. When you release the struggle to become, you discover you have always been complete. This completion expresses itself as a deep stillness, a quiet knowing that requires no external validation. From this space of wholeness, creation flows naturally, effortlessly, like a stream finding its way to the sea. Your role is not to force or strive, but to allow your inner wisdom to guide your expression in the world. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment each morning before the world awakens. Sit in stillness and whisper to yourself, I am complete. I am whole. I am enough. Let gratitude fill your heart for the perfection that already exists within you. Rather than seeking more, allow yourself to recognize and live from the fullness that has always been present. This recognition becomes the foundation from which all authentic creation flows. Chapter 31, The Bridge of Compassion. In ancient times, a wealthy merchant named Lyle spent his days counting gold, measuring worth through possessions alone. Each night, despite his overflowing coffers, an emptiness echoed through his chambers. Though his wealth attracted many, true connection eluded him, for his heart remained closed to the world beyond his counting house. One evening, as he walked through the marketplace, he encountered an old woman struggling with her baskets. His first impulse was to hurry past, yet something made him pause. In that moment of hesitation, he chose differently. He stopped to help. The simple act of kindness awakened something within him that all his gold had failed to touch. The universal law whispers this truth. What flows through you flows to you. When we expand our circle of care beyond personal gain, we align with the heart of creation itself. This alignment magnifies our creative power, for we become channels through which the universe expresses its abundant nature. Consider Mabel, who once chased success with singular focus. Her days were filled with strategic plans and relentless pursuit of goals, yet manifestation remained elusive. Everything changed when she began teaching literacy at the local shelter. As she witnessed others' joy in learning, her own spirit lifted. Without conscious effort, her personal aspirations began manifesting with surprising ease. This is no coincidence, but rather evidence of a profound principle. When we embrace the welfare of others, we tap into a greater current of creative energy. The universe responds most powerfully to those who understand that true abundance includes all. Think of creation as a vast ocean. When we focus solely on our own desires, we create ripples. But when we expand our intention to include others' well-being, we generate waves that carry us all forward. This is the secret of accelerated manifestation. not through forcing or grasping, but through allowing our heart to beat in rhythm with life itself. Your ability to create expands in direct proportion to your capacity for compassion. As you release the notion of separate success, you discover that joy multiplied is joy magnified. When your dreams include the upliftment of others, the universe mobilizes greater resources on your behalf. Practice. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Imagine your energy as a soft, golden light in your chest. With each breath, let this light expand outward, touching first your immediate surroundings, then reaching further to embrace strangers, competitors, even those who may have wronged you. Feel the warmth of unity spreading through your being until your heart hums with the recognition that we are all threads in the same magnificent tapestry. Watch as your world begins to soften and respond to this expanded vibration of love. Chapter 32. The Song of Oneness. Throughout ages untold, a singular truth has whispered through the corridors of wisdom. We are not isolated notes in creation's grand symphony, but integral harmonies within its eternal song. This understanding dawns not through intellect alone, but through the heart's gradual awakening to unity. In a bustling city, Edna moved through life as though enclosed in an invisible shell. Her achievements, though notable, left her feeling strangely hollow. Each success seemed to reinforce her sense of separation, rather than fulfill her deeper yearning for connection. She saw others as competitors or obstacles, never realizing that this perception itself created the very isolation she sought to escape. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, brings teachings when the soul is ready to receive them. For Edna, this moment arrived through an unexpected illness that forced her to rest. In stillness, she began to notice how her breath synchronized with the subtle rhythms around her, the wind in trees, distant bird songs, even the quiet hum of city life. What had seemed like background noise slowly revealed itself as an intricate tapestry of interconnected vibrations. Rufus discovered this truth through a different path. As a musician who had long struggled to find his unique voice, he one day ceased striving and simply listened. In that profound attention, he experienced something remarkable. Music wasn't something to create, but a living presence to align with. His compositions began flowing not from effort, but from attunement to the universal symphony already playing. The law of creation operates not through individual force, but through harmonious participation. When you recognize yourself as an expression of the infinite, your intentions naturally align with the highest good of all. This is why those who master manifestation inevitably turn toward service, not from duty, but from the joyful recognition that giving and receiving are one movement in the cosmic dance. What you send into the world becomes your world, because in truth, there is no separation between inner and outer reality. Your consciousness is not confined within your form, but extends through all you perceive. Every kind thought ripples outward, touching lives you may never meet. Every genuine smile contributes to humanity's collective light. Through this understanding, competition dissolves into cooperation, struggle into flow, isolation into belonging. The power to create is not something you must earn or achieve. It is your natural state when you remember your place within the eternal symphony. Practice. Practice sitting quietly, breathing until you feel your pulse merge with the rhythm of the world, whispering thank you for being part of the grand symphony that forever creates itself anew. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. The secrets revealed through these chapters carry both power and responsibility. Through your journey of understanding, you have discovered that thoughts are not mere whispers in consciousness, but architects of experience. Each feeling you nurture becomes a signal to the universal field, drawing forth matching circumstances with unfailing precision. This wisdom demands reverent application. As you step into mastery of your creative force, remember that every thought ripples outward, touching countless lives through the interconnected fabric of existence. Your joy strengthens the collective light. Your peace adds to the world's harmony. The law of attraction isn't a tool for personal gain alone, but a sacred trust. When you align with higher frequencies of love, gratitude, and compassion, you lift the vibration of the entire human family. Your personal transformation becomes universal evolution. These teachings were preserved through ages not to remain hidden, but to emerge when humanity stood ready to wield them with wisdom. That time is now. You who hold these truths are called to be conscious creators, using your understanding to foster healing, growth, and awakening. Let these principles guide your daily choices. Speak words that bless, hold thoughts that inspire, and maintain feelings that elevate. Your mastery of these laws makes you a steward of creation itself. Use this power with gentle wisdom, knowing that as you create your reality, you participate in shaping our collective experience. Remember always, these teachings are not meant to separate you from others, but to remind you of your oneness with all that is. In recognizing your creative power, you acknowledge the divine spark within every being. Let this understanding guide you toward choices that serve the highest good of all.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.